Hi friends, it's Allison from Determined to Shine, and I'm super excited to connect with you today. I have an unplanned unboxing, and aren't those just the most fun for all of us, right? I arrived home today to discover my Sugar Skull Tarot pre-order waiting for me in the mailbox, and I'm gonna confess, I kind of forgot I pre-ordered this, which made it even more fun just because in the midst of moving and all the crazy that is my life right now, I'm still really excited for the coming season of Samhain and Dia de los Muertos and Halloween and all of that like really beautiful magic. And of course, just to add to the synchronicity, my marigold perfume from Sage Goddess also is waiting for me, which is a great blend for really, I think, working with this deck and Dia de los Muertos energy and all of the things. So we're gonna dive into this together. I'm gonna pop the plastic and you're gonna get my very first impressions because I haven't really seen anyone talking about this deck very much, so you know, we'll see what it's like together. This is published by wow, I can't even read what that press imprint is on my eyes. I don't know. I'm getting old, friends. This is a really nice box. It's written by David A. Ross. He also did the Tarot and Tequila book, which is, I don't have it, but it got a lot of fun reviews, just kind of cocktails, great for the season, and then illustrated by Carolina Martinez. This is a pretty nice two-part, pretty sturdy box, actually. I'm pretty impressed with it. And let's just see if Teller Press. Haha, see, I can read it there. So I'm going to set these cards aside for a second and let's peek at the guidebook. This is a mass market deck. It was not very expensive, and check this out. We have a full color guidebook, so that's pretty sweet. So a couple of tarot spreads, and then wow, it looks like we're going to get a description of the card, kind of the basic meaning, and then the reversed definitions as well. Fool. Who doesn't love fresh starts and new beginnings? The Fool isn't being foolish. I love the Fool. One of my favorite cards because, I'm not gonna lie, I love leaping off of certainly metaphorical cliffs, not necessarily real ones. Okay, we do have looking like still full page entries all through the minors. So that is pretty great. I'm pretty excited about that. Okay, now let's look at these cards. They're pretty big. This is actually a much bigger deck than I expected it to be. Let me see if I can... Oh, my little friend fell. I had a feeling he might not want to stay upright, but I do the best I can for you all. Let's have a look at, okay, I think right here I still have, this is the Mystical Manga Tarot from Llewellyn, but standard sized card. So you can see is a pretty different, so these are much larger. And then the other thing I'm noticing, of course, is that the corners are not rounded, which is fine, but I'm not actually used to seeing that. Here is the card back. Of course, not reversible, but very fitting for the deck. And this cardstock feels a little bit thinner than I'd like. It's, you know, it is kind of glossy, kind of matte. It's that, you know, you can see it's catching the light, but it's not super, super shiny by any stretch. But I do wish that it was just maybe a hair thicker, but I might just be complaining. We will see. So I'm going to zoom in on the deck, and while I do that, I want to, before I forget, to let you know that as a special October treat for you, I have a downloadable meditation. If you check the description box on the video, you will find a free meditation MP3 link for you. You can sign up and get the download. You can listen to it on your phone or on your computer or however you want to. And it lets you take a little journey inside a favorite crystal. So you can pick, you know, any stone you want to use in meditation and connect with the spirit of the stone. It's one of my most popular meditations. So I hope you love it. It is in the description box. And if you sign up for that, you'll also get news and updates on all things Allie and Determined to Shine. So sweet, sweet, sweet. Okay, let's look at these cards. Okay, I'm going to set them down because my hands are shaky today. As well as they are every day, right? Okay, here is the Fool. I love this Fool. I am loving the color palette here. And of course, you know, talking about fresh starts, I'm moving to New Mexico, so this card just seems to really embody that journey for me, especially just because of the cultural significance of Dia de los Muertos to that region, as opposed to, you know, where I am now in Wisconsin. So I look forward to being able to just experience a lot more kind of across different cultures when I move, including, you know, Latina and Latino celebrations, etc. And yeah, anyway, sidebar. Okay, let's take a look. Magician. Okay, this is interesting because he's like a sharpshooter, and I'm not sure how I feel about that because I really don't like guns at all, just for personal reasons, but it's a very powerful card. Like, the imagery is really powerful, and the skull is, of course, on the target behind him. So that's, I'm gonna have to sit with this for a while. I really, really am. Here's the High Priestess. This is gorgeous for me. I love the imagery here. I love the cacti. I love, yeah, just kind of she is just really in deep meditation there. And that's kind of how I think of High Priestess energy, right? As just like being like a little beyond this world for me. Okay, I am digging this Empress. The Empress to me is a card of like femininity against the Emperor, right? But it's so frustrating for me. I've talked about this in other videos, how the Empress is often a pregnant woman, and as a woman who can't have children, I don't love that. I also think it doesn't do a lot of favors for you know, non-binary people, or you know, all kinds of women who can't have kids for whatever reason. And I just like that this is an embodied strong energy that has nothing to do with procreation. And okay, here is our Emperor. Very much sheriff vibes here. Again, guns, I'm gonna have to lean into that here, aren't I? There's some shadow work for me and guns to be done. So I didn't expect this deck to bring that forward, yet here we are. Hierophant, really beautiful. Oh, really cool take on the Lovers card. This is the first time we see these skulls as on the face. It's like face paint or that kind of approach. The Chariot, really powerful. Here is Strength. Okay, I am digging this card. Now, it's interesting, right? Because we have the same vibe as the Emperor and the Magician, but here we have a woman presenting character. And of course, I see it totally differently, even though there's a gun. Ha! The things we have to face in our cards, right? That's one of the things I love about looking at new decks, is you just never know what you might get to work on. But I love the power in this image, this embodied power. I think, yeah, it's just really neat. Hermit, Wheel of Fortune, very cool. Like there's some gambling imagery here, which of course fits with the wheel. Justice, this is my card of the year, so I always like seeing what the Justice card looks like. And I guess, wow, 2022 is right around the corner. I'll have to stop saying Justice is my card of the year and see what comes up next. Here is the Hangman. This makes me think of like Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote for some reason. Like, I just feel like Meep Meep energy coming from that card. I'm not sure what Meep Meep energy is, except that it's this. Haha. Okay. Death. Yeah, there's a lot, of course, to take in here. What a beautiful sacred image that is. This is really powerful. Temperance. Gorgeous. I really like this Temperance card. Maybe one of my favorites I've ever seen, actually. I might leave that out. I just kind of want to soak it in for a little bit. Yep, off it goes. Okay, here is the Devil. The Tower. Oh, check it out. Oil rig. Interesting. Interesting. The Star. Appropriately mysterious. As is the Moon, of course. With our... It's just really pretty. I really do love the palette here. This is gorgeous. The Sun. Judgment. There's a lot of desperation here, which makes sense. And the World. Dun, dun, dun. Okay. Okay, let's look at our minors. So we have the Ace of Wands. So this is interesting, right? Because we have a hand coming through what I believe is clouds over a city. If we flip this, right? So this is an interesting way to look at the Ace of Wands, particularly if you're reading with reversals. There's a lot to ponder here. And this is a first impressions video, so, you know, I haven't had time to soak in a lot of this imagery, but wow. There's a lot here for me, for all of us, I think. But again, it's just really, really beautiful. I'm just like up and down and up and down. But I think this is neat because there's kind of a reversal built in, you know, in that it feels like the hand of God is kind of coming down with the wand, and yet, or is it up, right? Interesting. Okay, here's our 2. Is it the same wand? Yes, it is, right? Okay. 2. Here is the 3. 4, love this, really beautiful. 5. And the 6. Feel like there should be like music playing to this card. 7, some intense energy there. There's the 8. Okay, I always like it when the 8 has more than just the wands kind of flying, so I enjoy seeing them as arrows kind of flung into the sky, though you usually don't see wands as arrows. Like, usually I definitely associate that more with, like, an arrow more with air energy versus fire energy. So, interesting. Here's our 9, and of course our 10 of Wands. If you want to explore the 10 of Wands in depth, I want to recommend the Tarot for the Wild Soul podcast by Lindsay Mack. She did an episode about the 10 of Wands at the beginning of September, but then that card also kind of repeats in the following 3 episodes and really, really changed the way I see this card. And yeah, it's awesome. So sidebar recommendation, and I am loving this. This is a very powerful image to me. You know, she's carrying a lot. Here is our page. Oh, unfortunately, it looks like I have a rip in my card here. So that is a bummer, of course. I will contact the manufacturer and see if they'll send me a replacement. But for some reason, I'm like not as bothered as I should be. In certain decks, I would be like devastated. And this deck is just kind of confronting all my stuff right now, so I'm not surprised it wants me to look at how I feel about perfectionism as well, which is not what the Page of Wands is about, but is what my ripped card is about. So I am going to set that aside again. Hopefully I can get a replacement, but in the meantime, there it goes. And if not, yeah, I'll see how I want to work with that. Okay. moving right along, here's the Knight. The Queen, really beautiful Queen. And the King. Although, I'm not sure how I feel about this dude being on the Queen's card. I may have to read about that, because I like her to have her own card. Sidebar. And some more firearms to deal with. So plenty to think about in the wands for me. All right, let's look at the cups. Here is our ace. It does not appear to be upside downable, but it is a very beautiful card. And usually, you know, we see the Ace of Cups in the daytime most often. So I'm kind of enjoying the turn on that. This is a really beautiful Two of Cups. Oh, I love this. I love this a lot. And our celebratory 3, I would like to go to that party, please. Our 4. 5. Oh, this is intense. 5 of Cups is I've been working with a lot lately, and it's just it's a card I relate to really often. Like, I often find myself, if I'm not careful, getting lost in my spilled cups and not focusing on my full ones. Even though, of course, that's like what I teach, right? Like, but it's such a journey for all of us to always come back to what we have and what's working. And remembering that this is a lesson and this is a gift, and we will continue to move forward and get 6 cups. The 6 of Cups is, of course, my favorite in almost any deck. I call it the alley card. It's the one I feel I embody most often. And I really love this particular take on it, actually, because so often the 6 of Cups like portrays children, and I love to act like a kid and be very silly, which is why I like the 6 of Cups. And I'm very nostalgic, but I love this kind of more empowered feminine figure, like looking back or looking fondly at and remembering. And this just feels like very much where I am right now in my life with the 6 of Cups. Here is the 7, kind of carnival game style. And the 8, of course, a leaving behind. The 9. And our 10. Really neat. I love that the skull's just the smallest there. And I'm really enjoying the way this is kind of like a photograph, right? Kind of fits with Cups energy. I'm really loving this deck. Even though, again, there is some imagery that's very confronting for me. Here is our Knight. Queen of Cups. Okay, love her. I'm like loving everything about her. And our King. Oh, he's like maybe a doctor. That's kind of cool. You know, the Kings are mastery cards, and I like that here. I really do. Awesome. All right, here come the swords. I've already had to like face a lot of junk in my life through these cups and wands, so this might be a little intense. Here we go. Ace. No, not intense at all, right? Okay, no, just kidding. Here's our 2. 3. This is a great, you know, classic Rider-Waite depiction, I guess, with the skull take on that, of course. Here's our 4. I often call the 4 of Swords the take a nap card, so that feels just right. And 5. 6 of Swords. I enjoy this. This is a bit different. We're used to seeing. Not super different, but I just like the kind of take on that image. Here's our 7. We're like, is she a bank robber? Okay, this is amazing. There's just like a lot of, you know, Southwest, but like Western kind of tropes in this deck that I wasn't necessarily expecting. I don't know why. It really makes sense to me when I think about it, but here we are. Here's our 8. I talk a lot about the 8, 9, and 10 being really important cards to me, particularly like each of them by themselves, but also separately. So it's always that 6 of Cups and then the 8, 9, 10 of Swords that I'm looking at to see how much I'll love a deck. And this is really unique. The 8 of Swords typically, you know, represents our, like, we're trapped, but we have the power to free ourselves. And of course, in this image, you know, I think she can step out, but, you know, I mean, here, of course, the idea is that the cage is an illusion, right? So we're playing with that literally with stage magic. So that is pretty clever. Here's our 9. I love the use of the dream catcher, kind of taking some of the energy of the swords or the anxieties there. And here's our 10. This is interesting because the skull is pierced, but not a person. So I find that an interesting take. I'm not sure how I feel about it, because Ten of Swords moments are so final and difficult and rough that this for me just doesn't have the same ache of a normal 10, and that's okay. Like, they don't need to ache, right? But this almost had more in some ways, and some of these other cards. So I'm not sure on that choice, but that's okay. Here's our page. Knight of Swords. There he goes. Queen of Swords, of course, takes no shit from anyone, and yep, that's about right. Actually, I really like this. I'm doing a little better with the guns now that I'm getting a little bit more used to them, but I am gonna have to work on that. Okay, and our Pentacles, Ace. Once again, we've got oil. And here's our 2. 3, really interesting. I enjoy the, like, rider weight, but not completely vibe of this deck. Like, some cards are really close, some aren't as much. This is very powerful. This is a 5 of Pentacles is a hard card. And you can feel that here, right? Like, I want to feel what I'm supposed to feel, I guess I should say. Even though some of the cards are making me feel other things. Here's the 7. Very powerful. 8. Working away. Romeo, Romeo. No, I don't think that's what they're going for. But that is a really beautiful card. And 10. Okay, let's take a look at the page. Oh, this is probably my favorite page of the deck so far. I am not sure why, but it is. Here's the Knight. That's interesting that the skull on this card is almost like the knapsack, or it almost feels like a carrot on a string for a horse. I don't know if you use carrots, but you know what I mean. That's just interesting. Oh, super beautiful Queen of Pentacles. This is just like, yeah, Latina power woman card. Like, she is, that is beautiful. I'm in awe of that. And the King. So there we have it. That is the Sugar Skull Tarot. Overall impressions. Okay, let's just chat about the deck for a moment, shall we? Let me zoom back out a little bit. There we go. Okay. Overall, I'm really, really glad I got this. It is beautiful. I think it'll be great for ancestor work for a lot of people. I think anyone who has a connection to Dia de los Muertos or to like Western or Southwestern culture, or any of that, I think might just really love this deck. It's very different than anything else I have in my collection because it is at once both dark and joyful. But isn't that now that I'm saying that, like the magic of Dia de los Muertos, right? Like, it, for me, for a long time, seemed like a very scary celebration, and I just didn't really understand it. And as I have stepped back and allowed myself to listen and to learn versus like trying to project my own feelings on it, it really is the most beautiful day and the most beautiful celebration. So I think that the deck has captured that very well. Of course, I do have a ripped card, so that is a bummer, and I'm gonna contact the manufacturer. I'm not too worried about it. I am nearly certain that it will be easy enough to take care of, and if for some reason I can't get a replacement from them, I'm certain that Amazon would actually swap the whole deck for me. So not too worried about that. It just is, you know, part of my initial experience with the deck. But I'm curious to work with this. Again, the cards are, they're kind of okay. They're like maybe a little more okay than I thought they were, in terms of thickness. But they are quite large and beautiful, and I think they'll be really neat to work with for the rest of the year. I am definitely in my own shadow season, regardless of what's happening on the Wheel of the Year. And that's a good place for me to be. And as again, I'm headed to the desert myself in really, honestly, probably just a few weeks now. I know I've been saying that I've been moving since, you know, the spring, but it's been that kind of a year. Like I made one move and now I'm making my second or more permanent move, and, or permanent for now. Nothing in life is permanent. It just feels right on time. So, overall, yeah, very happy I got this. I will have the link to the deck in the description box if you want to grab your own copy, along with the link to grab that free meditation that I mentioned. And we do have spots available in upcoming Determined to Shine retreats, so I encourage you to check those out as well. It's a great time to play with cards, talk about cards. We also do a lot of really neat journaling exercises and things, and just have a chance to be creative together and share together and explore all the things that make life worth living. So check that out. If you liked this video, do all the YouTube things, like, subscribe, leave me a comment, la 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 la, and have an amazing day. I want you to know that you are enough and powerful and strong and so worthy of every great thing that I am confident is coming your way. And if you are in a place of hardship, know that you are not alone, that the darkness is always the darkest right before the dawn, right? So sun comes out tomorrow, and much, much, much love from my heart to yours, and I will see you all next time.